Hi everyone, this is a video to walk through Activity 4 Task 2. This is the final task in your Python scripting section, and it includes pretty much all the stuff that we've covered in terms of using the subprocess module. It's got loops in it, it's got functions in it, etc. So it's one of the most complex example that we're covering in this activity. So I thought it'd be worthwhile doing a wee walkthrough just to check everybody understands what they're doing. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is actually just show you the script running before we then go ahead and write the script. So the script basically allows or presents to the user a menu, which we'll see in a second. There we go. You can see the menu, and the menu's got three options. It allows the user to either display free disk space, display free memory, or exit the program. The user's then prompted for a choice. I'm going to choose option 1, and it executes that choice. So it displays the free disk space. What then happens is we get press enter to continue, and it'll actually come back to the menu again in case we want to do something different. So this time I'm going to choose option 2, and again it'll display option 2, which is a free memory. Press enter to continue, which clears the screen and displays the menu again. I can put in an invalid choice. Say I put in 5, it'll tell me it's invalid. Press enter to take me back to the menu again, and then the final choice is 3 to exit, and it closes the program and says goodbye. So this is a script you've been asked to write. So I'm just going to go through and write this while I'm recording it, just in the hopes that it helps explain some of the syntax and some of the instructions. So I'm going to go back to my original directory where I've got all the demo files. So remember tilde, the wee squiggle, just means home. So I'm saying go all the way back to home, go into my demo files folder. Now I don't think I've got an Activity 4 folder in there yet. So I've got Python scripts, and yeah, I've just got Activity 1. So I'm going to make an Activity 4 folder, and then in here I'm going to create task2.py. Okay, so again, the actual solution or suggested solution, there's more than one way to do this. So my suggested solution is available on Moodle, and it's fully commented. I'm not going to write the comments in here, okay, because it'll just take too long. So first thing, we need that import that subprocess module so we can use the subprocess.run to execute the Linux commands. Let's help if I spelt it correctly as well. There we go. Okay, first thing we need to think about is what's this program going to do? Because we want to split it up into functions because there's quite a lot of different tasks. Easiest way to modularize your program is to put each separate task in its own function. Simplest way. So I'm going to need a function to, first of all, display a menu, also to clear the screen after each time the menu has been executed. I'm going to need a function to tell me what the free disk space is, another function to tell us what the free memory is, a function to exit the program, so that's one for each menu option, and we'll also need one for what if they pick an invalid menu option. And then finally we need a function that actually asks the user for their choice and processes it. So we've got quite a few functions we need to write. As I say, this is just a suggested solution. You can split it up into functions any way you like, but for me it just makes sense to put every task individually. So first one, let's set up the menu. So again, remember sensible names for functions. So to declare a function in Python, this is covered in the material. Quick reminder, def to define the function. Function name, input brackets, and then colon. And importantly, every line you type must be tabbed in. That's how Python works, by indents. So it knows that everything indented will belong to this function. In other languages we use things like brackets to indicate what belongs, but in Python it's indentation. So first thing we're going to do is set up a dictionary to basically associate the menu option with a description. So I'm going to set up the menu as a dictionary. So I'm going to give the dictionary name menu, and then in it I'm just going to list all of the options. So option 1, so that's the key for the dictionary. So if we look up the key with the value 1, we're going to get the description display free disk space. That's option 1, and then we need a comma. Tab again. Option 2 is display, apologies for my awful typing, free memory, and again comma, and then option 3 is just to exit the program. Okay, no comma this time, but we do need to close our bracket. Okay, so that's the dictionary set up. So now we've set up the dictionary, we want to actually use this dictionary to generate the menu that will be displayed to the user. So we're going to basically go through each entry in the dictionary. So let's say for loop to go through each entry in the dictionary. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sort it. So sorted, and then menu.keys, because we look up the dictionary using the key. Make sure we've got all our brackets. So this for loop is basically saying go to the dictionary, get all the keys from the dictionary, sort them into order so they're displayed in the correct order. By default, because I've created the dictionary in order, it would be fine. But if, say for instance, I added on extra entries, then say I added an option 0 onto the end, then it would mean I wouldn't have to add it on in the right place. I could just add it on to the end and the sort would fix that. So we're displaying the all the keys, and then basically we're going through each key in the dictionary, and then we're going to display what the value is for that key. So we're going to say print the key and the actual value for that key. Wrong way. So remember, to access an item in the dictionary, you need the name of the dictionary and you need the key, which goes inside the square brackets. So basically it's going to go through each item and it's going to print entry. So entry is a key in this case, because this is just a list of keys. So this basically says for every item in the sorted list of keys, so 1, 2 and 3, then display the key, so it'll display 1, and then display whatever values at that key. So at position 1 it will display free disk space. There is information on dictionaries inside the collections slides on the Python material. Okay, so now we've got our function for displaying the menu. Now let's create our function for clearing the screen. Screen, it's hard to say. Okay, so it doesn't take any input, so the input brackets are empty. So to clear the screen, basically we're just going to ask the user to press any key to continue or press enter to continue. It doesn't really matter what they press, it'll still work. Press enter to continue, and once I've done that, so that basically means that we don't clear the screen straight away because they might not have finished reading what's on it. So by asking them to confirm they're ready to continue, then we can go ahead now and clear the screen. So to clear the screen we need to use subprocess .run. We don't care about the result of this. Clear screen doesn't give a value back, so we're not going to store anything. So we can just say subprocess.run, the command we want to issue, which is clear, to clear the screen, and then shell equals true, because we're using quotes. Okay. Okay, and then that's us for the clear screen function. So what we're moving on to now is a function to find the disk space. So let's just call it free disk. Okay, tab in again. So the disk space, this time we're going to use the subprocess to execute the Linux command to find out the free disk space. The free disk space command is just df. So it's given, and it comes back with statistics of how much free disk space there is in the system. So we want to store the output of the command, so let's have a variable to store it. So I'm just going to call the variable result. So anything that comes back from the command, we can then look at it inside our script. So again, subprocess.run, as I just said, the command is df, and then we need to set all our usual values. Shell's true, we want to capture the output, whatever it displays to the screen, we want to capture that, and we want to capture it in text format and not binary format. And then once we've got it back into our Python script, we can use a Python print to display the results to the screen. So we're going to say free disk space is new line, \n to get our new line, and the result that comes from the whatever output we get from the subprocess command. But remember, it returns everything about what happened when that command executed, and we just want the output. So it's the std out part of the result. Okay, so that's the free disk space. Then we'll go for free memory, so a function to do the free memory. It's getting a wee bit repetitive now, so hopefully everybody's picking it up. So function header, tab in, we'll just use the same variable name because we're in a separate function, so they won't clash. So I'm going to say this time to get the free memory, the command is just free, straightforward. So subprocess.run, in quotes, free, then the usual shell equals true, capture, output equals true, and text equals true. Close our brackets. And then again, we want to print that output that we've now got inside our Python script. So let's print the message first. Free memory is, take a new line, and whatever's in the result, return back, and I just want the output. Okay, so that's the free memory. What other options we've got? We've got option 1, free the disk, option 1, free disk space, option 2, free memory, option 3, exit the program. So let's write a function called exit program. Don't call your function exit because that is an actual command in Python, so it'll cause you all sorts of problems. So tab in, so to exit, I'm just going to basically say print, just so it knows we're finishing. I'm just going to say closing the program. Okay. Right, 2 seconds. So that's us got our exit. I need to scroll. You can't see what I'm typing here. So scroll down. And that's the 3 options. And what if they do an invalid option? So let's set up a function for anything else, which basically just tells them, just gives them a wee message saying, oops, print invalid menu choice. Right, okay, so that's us got a function to display the menu, one to clear the screen and one to run each of the menu options. So what we now need to do is actually have a function that processes the user's choice they've made, and once we get the choice from the user, we then call the appropriate action, so we call the appropriate function. So this basically handles the user's menu choice. So I'm just going to call it menu choice because that's what it's doing, it's handling their menu choice. Now this one does actually have an input, as we'll see in a wee minute. This one, in order to handle the menu choice, it needs to know what the choice is. So we're going to pass in the choice. Okay, tab in again. What we need to do is we basically need to look at the choice and match that up with what function we should call. So if they pick choice 1, then we need to call the free_disk function. If they pick choice 2 to display free memory, we need to call the free_memory function. And if they pick choice 3, then we need to exit the program. So we're matching a value to the name of a function. So again, best way to do that is to use a dictionary. So key value pairs. So let's set up another dictionary. We're just going to call a dictionary menu choices. Remember, you can call these dictionaries anything you want. It's just something that makes sense. So I'm going to call it memory choices. So if they pick option 1, then I want it to call free disk. Now you'll notice I do not have the brackets on the end of the name. We'll put them on in a wee while in another location. Just important to note for now, it's just the name of the function without the brackets. So if it's 2, then our function is called free memory. And if it's 3, our function is called exit program. Okay, so that's our choices, no comma. Close the brackets though. So what we basically want to do is we want to find out which function is to be called. So we're going to find out the function to call. And once we find out what that is, so based on their choice, we'll look up the dictionary. We'll use the choice as a key to look up this dictionary, and it will return back either free disk, free memory, or exit program, and we need to store that result. So we need a variable to store the result. So I'm going to call the variable function to call, because that's effectively what the result is. It's returning back the name of the function that we then need to go ahead and call. So I'm going to access the dictionary, which is called menu choices. Remember, to access a dictionary, we can use the square brackets, or we can use a function called get. Now what this allows us to do, it allows us to provide the key. So basically it'll use the key that's been input, the choice the user's input will be used as the key. So whatever they've typed in and it's been saved in the variable choice, it will be used to look up the dictionary. If, however, that choice variable, the value, does not match any of the keys, then we can specify what to do as an alternative. So if it doesn't match, so if this value here isn't 1, 2 or 3, then this get method will come back and say there isn't a key for this value, so instead this is what I'm going to return. So it will return the word invalid. So basically it will say we need to call the invalid function. And then finally we need to actually return, and we're going to return whatever the output is of this function that we need to call, and this is where we add on the brackets. So function to call is the name of the function that's going to execute the user's choice, and now we need to add the brackets on to basically say go and call this function. So that will call the function and it will return whatever the output of the function is. So we're almost done. We've got all our separate display the menu, clear the screen, option for free disk space, option for looking at the free memory, option for exiting the program. We've got the function for what if it's invalid, and now we've got the function that handles user's choice. Last part is that this program has to run in a loop. So we need to consistently ask the user for their choice, execute the choice until the point at which they decide they want to exit the program. So basically we need to keep going while the user hasn't chosen option 3. So while they've not chosen to exit, we will keep going. So first of all, we need to have a variable to store the user's menu choice. Okay, so we're now out of all the functions. So right now, as the program stands, if I ran this, nothing would actually happen, just before we move on. Because the way Python works is it comes into the script and it goes through it line by line. So let's pretend we're the Python interpreter. So it'll import the subprocess module, so it'll go and grab the code. It'll come here and say, oh, here's a function called display menu. Right, okay, that's just a definition. Skip over that, it's not a command of to execute. Here's another definition of a function, skip over that, same. Scroll down, same all the way down here, all functions. So right now, if I ran it, it wouldn't do anything because we've not actually given it any instructions, we've just given it definitions of functions. So now we're going to start giving it instructions. So this is going to be the first instruction it's actually going to execute. So we're going to have a variable that stores the user's menu choice, their selection, and we're going to initialize it to the value 1. You can initialize it to anything as long as you don't initialize it to 3. Now we're going to create our while loop. So basically we're going to say while this selection, while the user's choice is not equal to 3, remember your colon for the while loop, and tab in. Okay, so everything now is part of this while loop. So what do we want to happen? Well, first of all, we need to display the menu. So we call the function display menu. So that will display the menu to the user. Once we've displayed the menu, we need to ask them to input their choice, and we need to store it. And we're using this variable selection to store their choice. So selection is going to be given whatever the value is of asking the user to input their choice. So input, please enter a menu choice. Okay, now if I left it like that, what would happen is anything that's coming in from the command line, anything the user types in, by default is treated as a string. Now if you look above at our dictionary here, you'll see that our numbers, or our options, are stored as numbers. So this would not work. So what we need to do is we need to convert their input to be a number. So to do that, we wrap the whole thing up. And again, this is covered in the Python material. We wrap it all up and we say take this whole thing and convert it to be an integer. So now whatever they type in will either be, well, it should either be 1, 2 or 3. So that's us got the user's selection. So now we need to process that selection. So we know we've got a function to do that. This function up here, menu choice, this is the one that processes their selection, looks at their choice, matches it in the dictionary against which function to execute, and then calls the function. So let's call menu choice. Menu choice, that will now process their menu choice, and we need to pass it whatever their menu choice is, which is stored in selection. So we need to pass it whatever they've just input into the terminal. We've been asked a question, enter a menu choice, we've put in a value, and it's been stored in the variable selection. We are now taking whatever that value is in the variable selection and passing it over to the menu choice function so it can analyse it and carry out the correct task. Once it's carried out its task, so it's either showing the free disk space, showing the free memory, or exited the program, or come up with an invalid warning, then we want to clear the screen because it's finished with that. So we call the function clear screen. And that basically is it. And this while loop will keep going, so it will keep going back up to the top as long as the selection is not 3. So it will just keep displaying the menu, asking for their choice, processing their choice, clearing the screen. Back to the top. Is their choice 3? Nope, keep going. As soon as they pick 3, then it'll say, oh, okay, so the selection is equal to 3, so that will fail. So it'll skip over the rest of the while loop, and it will come down here. So just for niceness sake, let's just print a goodbye message, just to indicate that that's it, the program's finished. Okay, so remember again, guys, Control and O to save it. So it's saving it as task 2, hit return, and Control X to then exit. And let's run it and see if I've made any mistakes. So to run it, remember Python interpreter, Python version 3, the name of the file, task 2, I think, yeah, task 2, and see. Oh, forgot to put my quotes in my very last command. Clever. That was just a test to see if you could spot that, if you've fallen asleep yet. Control O to save, Control X. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to save, display the free disk space, press enter to continue, scroll up because it's at the top of my screen, press option 2. So test all your options are working. Press enter to continue. I'm going to test an invalid one. Yep. And then I'm going to test the exit. Yep. Perfect. Okay. Hope that helps a bit. Anybody's got any questions, guys, usual, just drop me an email, post in the forum, or I can take messages on Slack, no problem. Okay, thank you.